Hi, I'm Phil from Driftworks, and this is my LP640, the, I guess, RGT inspired project, as we called it last time. This time we're talking about the work that was being done alongside the suspension work that you saw in the last episode. So basically chassis work, all of the chassis work. With the man who's done most of it. Hi Craig.
Hi Phil.
So yeah, first of all, there's a lot of people who ask, you know, why I'd be willing to do this to a Murcielago, to get the angle grinder out and basically cut it up. Part of the reason is because I'm brave. The other part is because actually it was a cheap Murcielago. It was a really cheap Murcielago. It's an LP640, late 2006, so one of the first LP640s, but it's a category C car, which is basically a chassis damaged car that's been repaired. So I bought this for 85,000 quid, which is a horrific amount of money, but for an LP640, at the time I think they were about 140 grand for a straight one, good one. Now they're considerably more than that. So yeah, that's basically part of the reason why I'm not scared to get carried away and chop it up. And I guess the third part of it is because got Craig
Next door.
And basically that means that we come up with ideas. So yeah, kind of got carried away and got stuck into it. But yeah, so on to today's chassis talk. So what exactly have we done?
Basically, this was the part that had been damaged previous.
Yeah.
It had a new section here, new bit here. And it had been repaired quite nicely, you know, nothing wrong with it at all. But with the British salt and that, you know, it got a few little bits where the salt had got into it and started to, you know, get under the seams.
Yeah, basically in the, they'd used like a rubberized sealer and
around this bottom.
Around there, yeah. So once we start to peel back the panels, we start to see a bit more brown than we wanted to. Good, bro.
Yeah.
That's bad timing.
Uncovering horrors.
Well, disappointed.
Also, fitting this bumper, the GT1 bumper, where the intakes are here, which you can just see here. We thought what would be advantageous to us would also be to slightly move the chassis rails, the lower chassis rails inboard.
These chassis rails here on the original car, they were very strange. They were like brought out, then they were sort of like kicked across a little bit.
Yeah.
And with like a little bit of a webbing, and it was all a bit, not sketchy, but it's a very strange way of doing it.
Yeah, it was. And what we did before we started doing any chopping at all was check from the datum points, which are just underneath here, that basically the structural part of the mounts for the suspension was all spot on, and it actually was. It was actually perfect.
And the steering rack position was all
steering rack position perfect as well. Yeah.
So with all this is new. This is new. All this lower section is new. We've left the original top rails, which were untouched, because obviously they've got chassis numbers and stuff.
Yeah, those weren't damaged either.
No.
These were actually pretty decent. So yeah, basically what you see here, every bit of box that you see here is new, and every bit of plate that you see here is new. And there was a horrifically how would you describe it? It was a bit of panel beating on a damaged panel here, and once you start
very loosely termed
panel beating, it looked horrific. It looked like somebody had just been chucking rocks at it. It wasn't a structural part, but
it's just this bit of tin that the bonnet catch goes to.
Yeah, but I was not going to have that left on the car either. So yeah, we basically redone the bar here, and it helps with creating the new supporting points for the mounts that we're going to build up here.
And this is a new bonnet catch and safety hook and that there, so that's onto something solid.
And one of the things that I've been really particular about, and Craig has entertained me, is making sure that absolutely everything on this is super square. We have measured, cut, measured. Measured it perfectly. Made sure that this is, I'd say it's probably one of the straightest Murcielagos in the country, and obviously this is kind of just raw metal at the moment still, so it looks a bit rough. This will all be seam sealed and treated and painted perfectly by Gaz at TJR Bodyworks. So that's the repair part of it essentially, and kind of a little bit of moving stuff around to make the front bumper fit perfectly. The really exciting bit is the door hinge. We've basically done the work to make the suspension work. In theory, it's not finished yet. We're still waiting on the machine parts from Martin for that. But we've basically made the wheel work as high up as we wanted it to. But what we've had to do here, if you have a look, is quite a bit of work to the rear here, particularly this area where the wheel swings, and I'll let Craig just quickly point out.
Quickly see on that door there.
Oh yeah.
Where the hinge sits, this is obviously a modified door. So you can see that the hinge sits down into the wheel arch, probably a good 3 inches.
Yeah.
So this is a slight issue.
So that's basically the door in the original position. So that's pretty much that in original position. You can see on this one we've actually modified the door so that the original hinge sucks up into the door.
Yeah.
Because the hinge would normally sit about here.
So there's a big bar that pokes out here, and it's kind of floating about in the middle of nowhere, and this part mounts
that was actually pretty much touching as the ride height you had it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we were going to struggle massively.
There's an original bar in here originally, but it was a bit further in, so we've cut that bar out to put a new support in, strengthened all this area here, put a new mounting plate in for the original hinge. We looked at many options
you and I basically we
probably spent quite a few hours just coming up with ideas. One was to put a new pin through. We were talking about putting just a something there.
Yep.
So that for bend that and just do that so we could tack that to there just to get and just try to turn up a boss for that.
Yeah, we're basically just doing a mock-up here to see whether our idea is going to even slightly work before we make anything really posh.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of just tack something together and hold the door, supporting it with a couple of people to see whether we can get it to pivot in the right action and clear the front wing fenders here. Yeah, we did a little mock-up, we turned a pin, we mounted everything, and all we wanted to do was basically see whether we could get that scissor action working with the hinge in this position first, and then we actually changed our minds about 3 times on how we're actually going to do this.
When we get it to work, each way would have worked, really, but no adjustability, or the adjustability would be very difficult.
It would have been extremely complicated, so we revisited what is actually the very first plan that we had. It was actually Gaz and I at Gaz's place. We discussed whether we could use the original hinge mechanism and push it backwards and up, and actually Craig kind of arrived at the same conclusion that that would be the best way to do it.
I think it is the only sort of option.
Yeah, we're still doing all of this, and this is like, you know, this is days and days and days of work. We had no actual clue whether it was properly going to work until the last bits were welded in. Take 12. The door's so heavy, it's got so much leverage on it.
And it's a really awkward thing to work with.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But so, I guess you should probably demonstrate. So. You can have the honours. That is
you can't imagine
magic.
How happy we were.
No, like
it really was.
It'll seem, if people don't know the full story, if people haven't watched from the very first episode, if people haven't watched how much work we've done to have the clearance for the wheel here, it might not be clear how mental that is that we've managed to achieve
and
that.
It just worked like you just pop the door.
Yeah.
Don't have to jam it up, it works
yeah.
as it should, which is...
So basically what we've managed to achieve is the same thing as the race cars, but instead of they have a carbon fibre door weighing 5 kilos-ish, we have the steel safety cell, steel door, hopefully still with my speakers in it, electric windows, all of the creature comforts.
And that's the original gas strut, which we had to shorten.
Yeah.
And this pickup point was like down here, so we've had to...
yeah, redoing this was the second phase of the complication here, because if that was basically too long, because we had to move this point towards the strut, so you've had to shorten the strut, move it out. We've had to get the positioning right here as well, so that it clears in the aperture here.
Through the door. So
I can't stress enough how complicated this was, and again how absolutely stoked we are that it's worked out. Man.
It was a really quite a happy day.
Yeah.
It just, you know, and it's because it's on the original hinge, and we've had to have this hinge in the middle and machine some little slots and that in it. And it is, I don't know what it's made of, but it's bloody tough, like proper.
Amazing,
you know, this. I'm really chuffed for using it now because it's all brass or bronze, whatever it is. But it's a really nice part.
Absolutely.
So, and we've got the visibility then as well.
Yeah, so it uses the standard position. We've had to move one of the bolts here so that we've got the clearance for this to sweep up, because it is in a different place. And what you can also see here is some of the work that we've done to the structure and the clearance for the wheel.
Because this is the original box section, because this is part of the crash structure.
Yeah.
So what we've done, we've sectioned the side out of it's like this 20 by 40 mil box section.
Yeah.
So we basically sectioned like a fillet out the side, and then squeezed it, and then VC welded it all back together. So it's the original structure all here. So because we didn't want to go into the car too far.
No.
And this is just
then at the back here. In fact, if you open the door again, probably show there. We've added like 3 times the structure.
So we've seam welded up the back in a bit, then we've added, like, it sounds crude, but it's a bit like angle iron that goes like into there to like so it's got the original box section plus a big runner weld, then another bit of angle, so it's you know, it's strong. Yeah,
and all of this is plated like multiple plates inside here, because this being the structural point for the hinge, all the forces on this, they're absolutely immense. And I'd say it's stronger than it was as stock. I'd say that now, even though we've got the wheel clearance, because literally the tyre sort of grazes past this, it doesn't touch at all, even on full bump. This is stronger as well. It's just worked out so well. And
this looks a bit odd. This here, where we've cut out to gain access now.
Oh, that's just a carbon panel.
It's a carbon panel. So Gaz, our painter, come fiberglass carb. He can do anything.
Yeah.
Basically, he will recreate that when he does all the rest of this. So he's really good at sort of just you know.
Yeah,
Stuff, so
you know, painted in the silver. It still looks a bit rough and ready. This is just a zinc. It's a primer, isn't it?
Etch primer. Yeah.
Just an etch primer, so we can still weld through because a lot of layers. We basically wanted to make sure that it's protected. But once this is all painted up black, you won't be able to tell that it's any different to any other part of the structure of the car.
If you can see this side, we're part way through.
So yeah, that's the thing that is being done now, is basically that, all the hard work,
again,
weeks and weeks and weeks, do it again.
So this is where we've done it. You can see in here, like this is just hollow here.
Yeah.
So on the other side, we've seam welded all the joints because they're like spot welded.
Yeah.
And then we've actually put like fillets in here and put about 3 layers of fillets to really sort of strengthen this area of the car, just to make sure that hinge is
yeah, because it's not only for the hinge, it's also for this safety cell that I keep harping on about. Even though your legs are actually much further inboard than this, if the wheel was to be an impact here, it would push here, it would push into the door, and it could possibly encroach. And need to make sure that whatever we're taking out, we put in twice as strong, which is exactly what we've done.
All like real modern cars are designed, if they ever have a crash, the wheel literally gets ripped off the car and not come in. So that's part of things they can shear off at road joints and actually lose, like disappear off, which is the idea. It makes a mess, but it keeps you safe inside.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I kind of did say that we're probably not going to do much in the way of more crude metal chopping, but we've actually done loads and loads. But this is kind of it now. Once Craig's done this bit here,
Old door cells.
yeah, once Craig's finished this, we are hoping to receive the machine parts for the knuckles. I've still got to work out what I'm doing with the coilover on the front. We're going to make something out of HSDs for now, I think. And then it's kind of got to go to Gaz's bodywork, basically, is the plan. And there's still a lot to do in many other areas. Got to sort out the back. I've mounted the bumper. I'll quickly show you that, actually. I just wanted to double check that the GT1 bumper will fit, and it certainly does. I've got to create some mounts here for the spoiler for the big wing, which is going to be interesting because I've got to probably make a carbon fibre deck lid panel here for them to poke through as a start, because it's got the spoiler which is going to be in the way if I use the standard one. Yeah, as I say, there's absolutely loads left to do, but we're made serious progress on the most difficult part of it. Front suspension, wheel clearance, that's one of the biggest ones, and then getting the doors to work afterwards. So absolutely amazing work by this man and his calendar. How long has that been there?
That's about 15 years old, I think that is, yeah.
And yeah, I think we'll call that a day on this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Give us a like if you did. Make sure you're subscribed because there's loads more to come. My personal Instagram is philmorrisondw, which is where a lot of this stuff appears before it gets made into a video. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
At Driftworks, we've helped over 50,000 happy customers since 2004. Our huge online parts store is simple to use, with superb shipping rates to anywhere in the world, and finance options available for UK customers. We live and breathe wheel fitment, so if you have any questions about your own car or any of our products before placing an order, please drop us an email at shop@driftworks.com or give us a call. Thanks for watching.